Hey guys, so how much should you charge to shoot and edit a music video? Let's talk about at least the process that I use to try to figure it all out. With summer right around the corner, I'm starting to get a lot more inquiries for music videos, and I'm sure you are too. One thing that can be tricky is figuring out exactly what budget to land on for these music videos. Sometimes a band doesn't really know how much it's going to cost, or they may come to you with a number and they say, hey, we have this much to spend on a music video. Other times it's more left up to you to say, hey, this is the budget that I'm gonna push for to achieve your guys' vision at this level. Now what's funny is a lot of times I'll get a message from a band and they'll literally just say, how much does it cost to make a music video? And of course, it's really difficult to just nail down one exact budget because music videos are so varied in everything that you can pull off with them. For instance, one thing that I like to tell a band is I say, well, how much is it to buy a car? Obviously, you could buy a car for $500. You could buy a car for $500,000. It really just depends on a lot of factors. It depends on how fancy do you want it to be? How functional do you want it to be? Do you want the latest and greatest toys to go along with it? Do you want a certain custom paint job? Do you want, you know what, you see what I'm saying? Basically, it's a good analogy for just a blanket sweep question. How much for a music video? Well, how much for a car? So I like to use that to kind of at least engage the conversation so we can talk about it more openly with the band about where we need to land to pull off some of these concepts that we want to do. The interesting thing about music videos is, of course, that you kind of want every video to stand out from the previous video or from other artists' videos. So you're always trying to do something new, something fresh. So it's tough to have some sort of cookie cutter package or pricing because everything is so different. You know, one day you might be out in the woods somewhere just shooting some coverage. Another day you may be inside a warehouse that you rented and you had to build a full set. Or another day you may be renting out a big green screen studio. It really just depends. Right there it's tricky. You know, if you were just shooting weddings or something like that, you would kind of have your standard issue like, hey, it's this much for the day, it's this much to shoot coverage, and it's this much to edit. Because they're all gonna be relatively a similar day and a similar final product. For music video, I feel like there's just so many things that you can do. It can be super simple, it can be crazy extravagant. So at least on my end, the way I've been trying to break it down recently is I figure out how long it's gonna take me to actually physically shoot it. So I say, okay, this looks like it's gonna be a 10-hour day, a 15-hour day, a 20-hour day, kind of depends. And then from there, I figure out how long I think I'll need to edit the particular piece. I know that if it's gonna be just a pretty Lilo, go lie down. I know that if it's a performance video, or let's say it's just a band and we're shooting just coverage of them playing the piece and then maybe a few little story elements intertwined, an edit's really only gonna take me about like the 10 to 15 hour mark for the first cut of the video. So from there I know, okay, if I wanna charge $50 an hour, $100 an hour, $10 an hour, wherever you're at comfortably with your hourly rate, that's what you can estimate that it's gonna cost to edit that particular piece. Now in contrast, if you know, oh, we have a bunch of green screen work to do, now you're looking at basically double the time. You have to edit the video and then you have to do all the special effects for the video. And now you're looking at like, hey, now we're in the 20 to 30 hour range. So now you can estimate differently. And this is helpful for when I'm talking with the band because they may have a really big idea and they say, oh, we want to be green screen, we want to have all those explosions behind us or something while they're playing. That's an awesome idea and we can absolutely pull it off. But then I need to be realistic on my end and say, well, if that's the route we go, we're looking at, you know, basically double my edit time. So my post-editing rate is gonna be higher than typical. And that's why it's good to discuss and really get your head around all the different elements that need to come together to pull off this exact project. So let's do an example. Let's say you want your rate to be $100 an hour for shooting and for editing. You know that the shoot is gonna be, let's say in a warehouse, you're gonna have a minimal light setup. And so now you're looking at, okay, this is gonna be a 15-hour shoot and I'm gonna be there for 15 hours at $100 an hour. That's $100. That's $100. We now know that it's $1,500 to shoot and direct this music video. And then we'll go over to the editing side and you say, all right, I know this is gonna take around 10 hours to edit. And so now you're looking at $1,000 for edit. And so right there, you're looking at just your cost to direct, to shoot and to edit this music video. You're gonna make $2,500 for this project. And so from there, you look at all the hard costs and all the things that need to get added on top to pull off the full production. So you set aside your $2,500, and now you say, okay, we have a location rental, it's gonna be $800 for the day. We have a makeup artist, they're gonna be a few hundred a day. We have a lighting package or a camera rental. So as you can see, all these things start to add up. Maybe you have a model or a couple actors that are involved. And so from there, you add up everything else and you say, okay, now we're looking at $5,000 or $6,000 budget. So from there, the band may also come back to you and say, well, we were really hoping to spend only $4,000 on the project. And that's totally fine. And now you know that you still want your $2,500 for your work and for your time. And now you know you have $1,500 left that can go into the physical production of the music video. So there may be things now you need to strip back, where you tell the band, okay, that's totally fine. We're probably gonna need you guys to bring in a friend or a fan instead of hiring on a model. Or a lot of times I'll have the band lock in the location, because then it'll be on them, and then we won't have to spend all the extra overhead if they have a connection with a family member or with a fan that can let them into a certain location that we can film. So there are ways to save money, but as the overall budget goes down, as long as it's not going past your threshold of what you need to make for your hourly rate, then you're totally set. And it's really on the band at that point, where you've kind of dictated, hey, here's if you guys want everything we're talking about, that's gonna cost this much. But there are ways to kind of cut corners a little bit here and there to bring that overall cost down. So there definitely are options. So that's why it's so important when you're having these talks with a band or with their management that you're really open and honest about every aspect of where this money is going. They don't want to just be shelling out money for no reason. They want to know that every dollar is accounted for and where it's actually going. So I really like to break this down as much as possible when I'm talking, that I'm open to suggestions and that I'm open to push for certain elements. And I can say, hey, I know this is like $1,000 more than you were hoping to spend, but if you give me a chance to explain, I can tell you why this is gonna elevate the project even that much more for you guys. So I think it's important to have those conversations, and then it's up to them if they wanna do it or not. But either way, it's not gonna affect your time and the amount of work that you're putting into it. So yeah, when I first started, I was walking away with, $100 profit per music video. And thankfully it's gone up higher since then, but you just do it incrementally, right? So every music video that you shoot, you just figure out a little bit higher of an hourly rate for yourself. And then hopefully as you continue, the budgets go higher, which means yes, you can make profit off of it, but also just means you get to play with more stuff. You get better toys you can shoot with, better cameras or better locations or bigger crews, and hopefully it all goes up together. And that's really the ideal situation. So who knows, maybe this doesn't really apply to you and you're like, well, I'm already shooting $200,000 music videos. And you know what, that's awesome. And maybe one day I'll be there. But for now, this is kind of how I break things down and how I can kind of figure out how much I'm gonna charge a band, or how we can discuss these budget ideas openly at least. So yeah, if you have any questions at all, leave a comment down below or message me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Would love to connect and chat more with you guys about what your processes are, what works, what doesn't work. In the meantime, I would say keep shooting, keep editing, stay happy, stay creative. You know the drill. Peace.